The zone give me a strike, copyright strike. What's happening, world? Yo, yo. Hope y'all can hear me live and well. Let me hear what this guy got to say right quick. I know he said Jesus is king after he got his knockout. But Berlanga went through a little war, you know? Yeah, Berlanga got it done. God give it up to him. You know, this guy's a tough SOB, this Irish dude, Padraig. I never even heard of a name like Padraig in my life. His name is Padraig Mccoy. I ain't never even gonna call him McCoy. Padraig. That's his name. Padraig came into this fight undefeated, 18 and 0, I believe 9 KOs. Of course, Belenga's undefeated as well at 21 and 0. But there was a lot of pressure on this guy Berlanga. He had to get it done, you know what I mean? He had to get the knockout by any means necessary. This is a WBA title eliminator for one of Canoli's 168-pound straps. And this guy was giving the man Berlanga some fits. But I believe it was mostly mental with the man Berlanga because he don't let his hands go really like that. And the guy is actually looking for the knockout. He ain't setting up nothing to get the knockout. You know what I mean? Eventually he did, but at least in the early fight, in the early rounds of this fight, he's looking for the big knockout. You know what I mean? And he got tagged with a couple shots, you know. But he started to get his groove right in round four when he kind of hurt the man Padraig. You know, he caught him with a nice right hand, kind of like a right hand over his jab, and he hurt the man. You know, but he could have probably knocked him out in round four. But the man was just looking for the one punch knockout. Like I said, he's following him around, and he's also looking for the counter punch. You know what I mean? Rather than jumping on the opponent, you know, in an intelligent manner, you know what I mean, not being all reckless and stuff, you know what I mean. He's just looking for the opening, following the guy. The guy's hurt. He's visibly hurt. I could see it from my TV. He's the one who clocked him with that right hand over his jab, over the top. He should know that the guy had the little spaghetti legs. You know what I mean? But the man wasn't setting up the shots. But he eventually started to break Padraig down with the body shots, you know what I mean? Also with the low blows. He hit him directly in the Bozak with a nice uppercut, you know? Padraig started complaining. I believe that nut shot, that nut buster that he got hit with, I believe that took a little out of him to the point where he's now keeping his guard tight, especially when the shots are coming to the abdomen area. You know what I mean? Or to the solar plexus. He was really protecting his rib cage with his elbow because he's now looking out for the body shots. And that was a nice strategy for the man Berlanga because Berlanga was having distance, closing the distance. I'm saying, excuse me, he was having a problem closing the distance, you know, and that's because he wasn't setting it up with the jab. Your jab was going to get you closer to your opponent so you can get to work, whether it's mid range or get it up close and personal. But he wasn't setting it up with the jab, and he was just basically following the guy, you know what I mean, and actually looking for the counterpunch. So since he wasn't using his jab effectively, I'll give it up to him. He was using his body shots, especially after round four. You know what I'm saying? Digging the body cage, the rib cage of the man Padraig, and he was wearing the man Padraig out to the point now Padraig is really protecting his rib side with his elbows. Now shots coming over the top. The shot that eventually got him up out of there was a big straight right hand. You know, it was actually kind of telegraphed. You know what I mean? There was nothing there was nothing about that particular big right hand that was you know, like he disguised it or anything. It's just that the man Padraig is now worried about the body shots. A big right hand came over the top, and he was hurt. And now he's in survival mode. He tried to throw a big right hook, and so did the man Berlanga. Berlanga's landed first. Boom! Put the man on the canvas. Big time shot. And this is a big guy. This guy is actually bigger than the man. Hit the thumbs up when y'all come in the chat, y'all. When you come in this house of B Marsh Boxing, it's only courteous and etiquette. Just hit the thumbs up, you know what I mean? Yes, indeed. It really helps with the channel, and I'd really appreciate it. So that big right hand, it put the man Padraig on the canvas. He tried to get up at 9-10. By that point, he was hurt, visibly hurt. His corner threw in the towel. And Berlanga finally, after a 5-fight drought, gets a knockout. You know what I mean? You know, Patrick caught him early. He caught him with some nice punches. He even rocked the man back in round two. You know what I mean? But it started to get a little dirty on the inside. Berlanga's a dirty fighter sometimes. He was tonight too. I mean, the guy threw nice low blows to the nuts. And also, he elbowed the man. He elbowed the man with a blatant elbow, left elbow to his head. You know what I'm saying? In round, I believe, three. But there was a lot of low blows, and Padraig was complaining. And he has every right to. But if the ref ain't doing nothing about it, then Padraig, I would advise you to do the same. Hit him with the same low blows to the nuts. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I'll give it up also to the promoter of this event, Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn does what I would do if I was a promoter. You see, Edgar Berlanga is a Brooklyn, New York guy, Brooklynite. He's kind of stale in New York City now. You know what I mean? Barclays or MSG. He's kind of stale up there in New York City. He was a big hype, 16-0 coming into the game with 16 knockouts, and all 16 knockouts happened in the first round. He was an up and coming rising star. But the knockouts decreased. He's getting put on the canvas by nobodies. He ain't knocking nobody out. He got stale up there in New York City. Top rank Bob Arum dropped the guy. They basically cut the guy like if this was the NBA or the NFL. He got released. Bye. Here's a little, I don't even know if they do buyouts in boxing if a promotional company drops you. But he got cut, okay? With that being said, Eddie Hearn picked him up. I've watched all his last fights. He fought, I think, was it Scott Quigg? Not Scott Quigg. One of them Irish guys he fought last time. He ain't knock him out. He fought the black dude, Alexis Romas, whatever. But what I'm saying is that the man Eddie Hearn now put this fight right here. This fight was in Orlando, Florida. Orlando, Florida has a nice population, big population of Puerto Ricans. You know what I mean? Like I said, Puerto Ricans, they deep up in New York City, no question about it. But he's still up there. He ain't knocking nobody out. The luster died. You know what I mean? He wasn't everybody was looking forward to seeing him up there. So guess where they brought him? To Orlando, Florida, where there's a big population of Puerto Ricans, and it was a very lively atmosphere. The Puerto Ricans was in there chanting. They was doing their songs, something, Yo soy Boricua. It was very entertaining, you know what I mean? There was chanting, there was cheering, singing. It was a very lively event. One of the most lively events I've seen in the United States in a while. There was a few people, Irish fans in there, who came to support the man Padraig. But that's why I said I gotta give it up to Eddie Hearn. That's good marketing and promotions right there. A lot of these promoters, a man like Edgar Berlanga, you might have seen, you never know, a man like Eddie Hearn. I'm sorry, if you're still on Top Rank, with Barbarian, you'd probably have him fighting out there in Tulsa, Oklahoma or something. You know what I mean? You know, this is the type of promotion that a lot of boxing, while these guys are not popular anymore, and nobody knows these boxers anymore, it's because they're not being put to fight in front of fans where they can captivate fans and gain new fans. You know what I mean? A man like Lomachenko, a guy like Lomachenko, they should have built that guy hard body up in New York City, in Brooklyn, over there in even South Brooklyn, where there's a lot of Ukrainians, a lot of Russians, Brighton Beach, Coney Island. You build him up there, you make him a big star down there in South Brooklyn to the point where you got to now even bring him to big Brooklyn house. What do you call it? Barclays Center. You know what I mean? And make him sell out everything that comes in there because he's a big star. He's winning. He's a multiple world champion in different weight classes. That's what they should have done with this guy. And then it could make him the king of New York City if he's winning and he's fighting his big fights in Madison Square Garden. You know what I mean? I remember back in the day there was a fight. What's the guy's name? The guy from VI, Virgin Islands, Julian Jackson, Julian the Hawk Jackson, and he fought against the Jamaican, the body snatcher, Mike McCallum. Where was that fight? What's a great place to put that fight? Not Los Angeles, not even Las Vegas, definitely not Tulsa, Oklahoma, not Houston, Texas. That fight was in Miami, Florida. Perfect place to have such a fight. These are two guys from the Caribbean. There's a lot of Caribbeans in Miami, Florida, Jamaicans. I'm sure there's a lot of VI, Virgin Islands people. Great place to put it, or maybe even New York City. That would be a nice place to put it. Yeah, I'm saying, because it's two Caribbeans. And that's my point. The man Eddie Hearn brought this guy to New York City. I'm sorry, to Orlando, Florida. The fans were cheering for this guy Berlanga. They was cheering for him all throughout. He got the sixth round or seventh round knockout, and they went ballistic. And that's what they came out for. You know what I mean? So Edgar Berlanga, like I said, this is a title eliminator, so he's supposed to fight the man, be in line for a world title shot with Cannoli. 9 times out of 10, Cannoli will pick a guy like Edgar Berlanga than a guy like David Benavidez, because can only be cherry picking. And with that being said, be March Boxing by the sign out. Thanks for everybody listening, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Gone.